Hey my friends, welcome back. In today's video we're going to do a little cloud and seascape painting study. Yeah, we start here by mixing the color for the sky part. I'm also oiling out the surface to make sure the color is not sucked into this surface here. It dries very quick and therefore I apply this layer of oil. Yeah, we start with the brightest area here. It's nearly a pure titanium white. To establish where the sun is located, and then we basically work around with this more and more darker reddish colors we have around this sun here. It changes from this yellowish one to the orange one, getting a bit of this brownish color, still warm, but then we pretty quick change to this reddish color we have that becomes cold, that has a lot of blue and white in it. And with this graduation we build up this scene. We have basically these warmer colors here, for example, and again this changes towards this very dimmed down reddish cooler color we have in the sky, more towards the right part. This grayish bluish color here is basically is color for the cloud body we have on the horizon line here, as you can see. And I put this in first to establish the location of it. And then I go on basically building up those bodies, cloud bodies, constantly intermixing those colors, as you can see here. I'm grabbing the red color and turning it down a bit with this grayish bluish color here. It is basically the same. No, it's not the same, of course not, but it's you have this cloud body and it needs to be just a bit more warm, a bit more reddish colored than this cloud body we have on the lowest part of this area here. Also note that I'm building up those reddish areas, turning them more into this grayish bluish color the more we come to the right part. It's just a little hint of this bluish grayish color here, but you need to have this in to make it look realistic. As this color basically turns into this more grayish color the more we step away from the sun. I'm adding tons of detail. I mean, not tons of detail, but a lot of small cloud bodies. I'm also using different brushes here. You can see here, this is a very soft round brush. No color on. And I'm also using the background color, this white color from the surface, to add even more color differences here. So this is a very delicate process of staying in control of the, not just of the color itself, but also of the amount of color you put on. Thicker, thinner layers, intermixing them, making sure that you get this connection in between those colors, but also making sure that you, in some areas at least, have the color of those cloud bodies really building up contrast towards the other colors around them. A lot of people make the mistake to thinking that clouds always have to be very contrasty and very that they should look like cut out. And this is, I think one of the biggest mistakes you can do when you paint clouds. They have areas where they look like cut out, but in most areas, a lot of areas, they connect really nice, not just with the background, but with one another. And this is, I think, the difficult part here in this painting here. It looks completely easy. It can't be that difficult. Starting with the sun here, getting reddisher and putting in some cooler colors, but the amount of detail you put in and the amount of a mixture of connection between those different colors make the secret to this painting here. Therefore, it's very difficult process. I mean, not really difficult, but you have to stay in control over the color that you apply. Yeah, and some of you might also wonder why I'm doing this a la prima. My experience is that when you do it in layers and you go wrong and you need to put in some lighter color over the already dry areas where we have the darker color on, it becomes more difficult. Therefore, I did this in just one sitting. And with the a la prima technique, basically just one layer of color, and that's it. That's the reference material that we use, and the sky is now finished. Then I'm mixing the color for the second layer. Meanwhile, I mixed some lamp black, some phthalo blue, and some cadmium red, and some lemon yellow for the second layer of the water. And I let this thing dry completely. And then I start to build up the next layer of color we have here. Basically those details of the splashing water. And we have here this base rule, more or less. We have these colder colors in the shadow areas, this darkest blue and those bit lighter ones. And this is the reason why I did this underpainting so thick and so well covering. I basically use the black underpainting for the dark underpainting for the dark details in those splashing areas here. I mean, of course, you can do it by mixing those two colors and adding them at the same time, but I think this way it's easier because you just don't have to change the brush you use, and I think you stay more in control of over the size and the shape of those splashing areas. When you don't have to think about where do I have to put in those dark areas and where do I have to put in those light areas at the same time. You basically just concentrate on the location of those brighter areas, this bluish one here, and can really gradually build up those details, those splashing parts here. And the same goes for the water areas of the water where we have the light coming in, basically those warm grayish tones that I'm putting in here now. And I try to basically match the flow of the water, more or less. I mean, it's obvious, again, but just in case you wonder what I'm doing here, I follow with this brighter color, basically the shape of those waves. I mean, again, it's obvious and most of you will know that, but just to really make that clear. And we also have those areas where we have some more lighter colors kicking in, where we have some stronger reflections here and there, you can see here. Using a very fine brush for those very fine reflection parts here. And they are really necessary to make this thing look realistic. Same goes for this foam part in the front here. also using very fine brush, and not just for the lighter areas that are lit by the sunlight, but also for those very fine splashes that we have in the shadow areas. Again, I'm adding tons of detail here and there, very fine little hints of those reflections that we have here, little splashes here and there. Spent actually really a lot of time on this, these little splashes here. And we're done. So, that's it for today, but make sure you check out one of these other two videos here before you leave.